When you first landed in Nanjing, did you speak any word of Chinese?
We could say 你好, 谢谢, and 葡萄, because in the book we were...
葡萄?
Yeah,
Great.
grapes. The book we were learning from, it had random 单词, and so...
Random words.
Yeah, random vocabulary.
It was just a simple book for, I think it was probably made for Chinese American kids in the States, and it had different words, and grape was one that we remembered.
So if you had got lost in the street of Nanjing and were hungry, probably the only food you could get from a stranger was grapes. How did you get by going into a strange country, a new country, and going to school with kids who don't speak your language, don't look like you?
We studied Chinese at home for 4 months before we actually started going to Chinese school. So by the time we were in Chinese school, we could speak enough Chinese to get by, to talk to the teachers, to the students. We could talk to everyone. We didn't always understand everything, but we could at least communicate, if something was wrong or if we wanted to ask a question.
But Nanjing has its unique dialect, different from the Mandarin we speak. How does this sound to you? Tell me. Nanjing 大萝卜.
Yeah.
Does that remind you of anything? So the Chinese you learn is Mandarin.
Yeah.
But then when you go to school, the local kids probably spoke the local dialects. How'd you get by?
But Nanjing dialect isn't... I mean, it's not like Shanghai dialect compared to Mandarin. I mean, Shanghai dialect you can't understand. It's like a foreign language. But with Nanjing dialect, I think it's a little easier.
Also, we spoke, in the class they spoke Mandarin, and our teacher was very, she stressed proper Mandarin for the whole class. So then you spoke Mandarin in class and Nanjing dialect during recess and after school.
Did you guys go into the same class?
In the beginning, no. But after a while, because the Chinese level, I went into 2nd grade, Mika went into 4th grade, but our Chinese level was not even 1st grade at the time probably, so she came down into my class.
How long did it take you until you feel completely integrated, or did you ever feel completely integrated?
At school, completely accepted, not very long. About a month, maybe a month and a half.
Yeah, they were really nice. Everyone was really, really nice.
They were really accepting. I think we owe a lot of that to the teachers who taught the other students how to accept us. They're not different, they're just kids. Okay, they've got blonde hair, that's okay, ignore it, But a lot of it, I think, is just the fact that when you put kids together, no matter where they're from, whether or not they can talk to each other, they'll get along. They'll find a way to communicate.
Yeah.
But when you first sat in the classroom, did students peek through the window to watch you?
Yes.
Of course.
Oh yes, I remember the first day I was there, I had to go to the bathroom and 30 little girls followed me to the bathroom and wouldn't leave me alone. So yeah, we were both novelties at the time.
Bathroom, that's a good topic. We'll come back to that. We're now talking to Aizhong and Aihua, or Mika and Charlotte. We'll be back right after this.
自放鸟儿对当对，鸡叫么子喳喳叫，小米两兄报喜嘞，弟兄二人插门嘞，满见喜家真早嘞，红嘞喜家必须。
Welcome back. We're now talking to Aizhong and Aihua, the 2 American girls in China, or Chinese girls, I'm not sure. We promised we'd come back to the subject of bathroom. Now, was going to bathroom hard? Because you were used to the bathrooms of Western standard, so to speak. And not just bathroom, a lot of the menial details of living conditions. Was dealing with all those hard?
I think the hardest part about the bathroom was the lack of doors at school. I mean, otherwise, I didn't really bother us. I mean,
you adjust so quickly especially when you're small. I mean, things that were weird at first become normal after a while, and you don't really think about it anymore.
Now, you guys performed in the little art group of the Nanjing.
We didn't get into the dating scene until about a year ago. Because in Nanjing, we were the little kids, and in a way we still are. I mean, people, they don't look at us.
They like to think of you as...
I mean, I'm
something
open to dating
small.
a Chinese guy. There are lots of nice Chinese guys.
But you just haven't run into one.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, going to international school, there are no Chinese students allowed, probably because of the language problem. But, so we don't really have the opportunity to really get to know.
Are your parents protective of you? If, say, the performing directors were unreasonable, or if they felt like you were mistreated during all these sets and things, do they speak up for you?
Oh, of course. There's very rarely do we ever go to a performance that our parents can't come. One or the other of our parents can't come with us, just because it's very easy to get into these long hours, late nights, and that can be too hard
This
and very
fall,
tiring.
I was filming a He Sui Pian, a TV movie for Chinese New Year's, and we would film from 7 at night till 7 in the morning to get the night shots. And I remember one evening we started filming at 8 and we went till 3:30 in the morning, and my mom drove from our house to come pick me up rather than have me take a taxi.
We're now talking to Aizhong and Aihua. We'll be back right after this.
青青落叶青水旁，鸳鸯争对雨争长。两兄啊，一对杂子女勇敢，两兄弟愿不愿配鸳鸯？配鸳鸯，配鸳鸯，可惜你的不是女红妆。
Welcome back. Aizhong and Aihua, or Charlotte and Mika MacInnis, are our guests. Now, you guys are going back to the States pretty soon, aren't you?
At the end of July, we're going back for college.
And you're both entering college at the same time?
Yeah, I deferred a year after I graduated last year, so we'll be...
And I jumped a year. We're 2 years apart, but I jumped a year and she deferred a year, so.
And which colleges are you going to, Mika?
I'm going to Brown University.
For majoring
Probably Chinese language.
Chinese language. You could probably teach there. I mean,
Oh,
why?
no, but I mean, I'd like to learn more about the literature and the history behind the Chinese language and how Chinese has evolved, so.
And you?
I'm going to Columbia University in New York.
In New York, for which major you think?
I hope drama, but I'm not sure. I mean, I'd really like to continue working with TV in either the States or China or both. And I guess I'll just have to go and see how it evolves.
So you think this part of Chinese life, the last decade, has influenced you in some way?
Oh, of course.
In ways unspeakable. I mean, we basically grew up here. And our American friends look at us and say we aren't American, and our Chinese friends look at us and say you're very Chinese, but you're not Chinese. And so we're sort of caught somewhere in the middle.
How do you feel? I mean, you're 19 and you're 17, but for a bigger half of your life, you've been here. Do you feel like you're an American here, or do you feel like when you go back, are you going to feel like a Chinese in America?
It's hard because no matter where you go, I mean, we obviously look foreign. So walking down the street in the States, no one's going to look at you and go, "Oh, look, there's a foreigner." But like will happen here, especially in smaller cities and in the countryside. But as soon as we start talking to people in the States, they look at us and they're like, "You're not American,
They know
are
that
you?"
we
You know?
don't live there. I mean, I've gone into a store to buy something, and the guy said, "You're not from America, are you?"
Well, how could they tell? How do you think they could tell?
I don't know. Maybe it's the way we carry ourselves. Maybe it's the way
Maybe it's
our
our
manners.
accent.
I
You
don't
don't
know.
seem to have accent to me.
I know. I don't hear it either. But a lot of our friends say we have accents. So
But you enjoy this status of celebrities here, believe it or not. And when you go back to the States, whether at Brown University or Columbia, probably there won't be as many people who recognize you as these two big TV stars.
No.
Do you think you'll miss this celebrity status?
No.
Do
No.
you? Honestly, you don't have to say no, because
I
she
know.
said no.
Not the recognition and and that's what I'll miss, is being able to bring our two cultures, like being able to bring happiness to Chinese people.
Yeah, it's not getting recognized
it's not
when
the
you
fame.
walk down the street. It's not having 10 people come up and ask you for your autograph just because you sit down and eat lunch there. It's being able to perform and see the people in the audience,
And
or
see
just
them happy and
see them smile, see them laugh, or go out into a park and sing opera with the old people that are singing opera there, and see them laugh and get joy out of what these two foreign people have learned about China.
Well, we'll bring you back in 1 year after you spend 1 year in the States and see if you miss it or not.
Okay.
So deep in your heart, do you feel like you're an American or Chinese? What kind of identity do you?
I'd say more Chinese than American.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why we're going back to the States for college, is to sort of balance out.
Both halves.
Balance out both halves. After living here so long, and I mean, a lot of foreigners come here and they go to international schools their whole time, so they never really get into the culture. But because we lived in Nanjing and because there was no international school there, we really got into China. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're so much more Chinese than we are American.
Looking back, did you wish that you had stayed in American school, or
No.
you liked the way it was?
No.
I love the way it was. I wouldn't change
At
this
the
for the
time,
world.
when it was like below freezing and we had no heat, and you were sitting in the classroom very, very cold, of course you regret that you're not in the States in an elementary school with
Heated.
wonderful heating.
And carpet.
But
and
looking back, I wouldn't trade 1 second of our time here.
And do you plan to come back to China after college graduation?
Yes.
Just to visit, or maybe working here?
Hopefully to work.
Yeah. It depends on how things work out.
What kind of work?
Anything with culture. I mean, I love Chinese music, so I would like to do something, something with Chinese music, introducing Chinese music to the West, because I think it's something that's been misunderstood for a long time.
Why do you say it's misunderstood? What is it, and what is it understood as?
Well, I think often in the States you say Chinese music and people think, oh, Beijing opera, squeaky voices.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
And that's not what Chinese music is. And last fall I helped put together 3 CDs with my mom and with a company in the States. We got to work with a wonderful guy. And apparently now they came out at the end of April, and now they're the most played CDs on public radio in New Hampshire. So we've heard. And it's all Chinese music from different areas of China, and Americans are loving it, and they're saying, we never knew that Chinese music was this way. And I'd like to continue.
And you're going to be the one American in Chinese movies?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And thank you for watching this edition of Sunday Topics. Our fax number is 8610-6851-4993, and our new email address is T053